All right, friends, I received some cards in the mail from my brother Aaron, and I guess it was payment for me letting him stay at my house, and so I'm going to open them up here on camera. Now, I'll say I already opened them because I'm holding my phone while I'm trying to look at them. So the first pack I got here is 1988 Donruss. And so it looks like we've got Neil Allen, old Andy Allenson. Now he was a no-hit, pretty good defensive catcher for my Cleveland Indians back in the day. Kind of liked him, even though he wasn't very good. The Tribe wasn't very good back then. So Greg Maddox, I've talked about him before, one of the greatest pitchers ever, in my opinion. That I've seen at least play, obviously the older pitchers, but that guy barely threw 85 and somehow he got people out, and man, could he play his position defensively, and he actually hit okay too. Larry Sheets, Baltimore Orioles, which when I was a kid, my dad took me to a Cleveland Indians game and he said I could pick out any hat that I wanted at the souvenir shop, and I picked out a Baltimore Orioles hat instead of Cleveland. That kind of flustered him. Kevin McReynolds, he's one that I thought was just going to be one of those superstars, and never did turn out, although he was a decent player. Jose Nunez, Manny Hernandez, Dennis Eckersley, that guy, one of the greatest pitchers who started middle relief and closer. But the story that sticks out in my mind, and I don't remember what year it was, but he came in to close out a game, and Manny Ramirez came up and hit one about 500 feet to win the game, and Eckersley just stood there and went, you could see him mouthing the word wow. He just was amazed because it was a pretty good pitch and Manny just crunched it. So even these like Hall of Famers sometimes can be amazed by what happens. Don Mattingly, great first baseman for the Yankees. I think he's managed some different places too, but that guy was a great hitter and a great defender. Shane Raleigh. Roy Smalley, they have him there as a DH, but he was a solid shortstop for the Twins for many years. Dave Leeper, not sure who that is. Jose Rijo, Jim Lindemann, old Jerry Brown. He played for the Indians, I think, for a little bit as well. Pretty decent second baseman. And then, of course, these cards, I always thought this was cool. These cards came with that puzzle instead of the gum. So that was pretty cool. So that was 1988. Donruss. Here is 1992 Leaf Studio. And I don't know anything about these. In 1992, I was married and having kids and probably not following baseball as much as I had in the past. Brent Maine, Kansas City Royals. Tim Wallach, he's one of my favorite third basemen, played for the Montreal Expos. He's a really good career. I think I did a bit on him on a Curt Facts, and pretty cool. These are cool cards. I like the way these look with the in action behind the portrait like that. Robin Yount, Hall of Famer, dude, man, could he hit. Great defensive player as well. I think I've done a bit on him on the Curt Facts. Anthony Young, don't remember him. Mike Henneman. Tony Gwynn, one of my favorite hitters of all time. Again, I talk about players that I saw come up as rookies and play their entire career. This guy's one of the best hitters ever, and actually very good outfielder as well. Played in the National League the whole time, so even as he got heavier, he still played a good outfield, had a good arm, stole some bases early in his career. Him and Alan Wiggins were a good 1-2 punch for a lot of years for the Padres. Randy Johnson, oh man, what a unbelievable pitcher he was. He the thing that sticks out to me is when he was pitching and the Indians were playing them in I think it was the American League Championship Series, and he threw a wild pitch with Kenny Lofton on second base, and Lofton made it all the way home. That's just how fast Lofton was, and what a great instincts he had. But the other thing that sticks out to me is John Kruk was so afraid to bat against him in the All-Stars that he turned around and batted right-handed, and Randy Johnson threw at his head on purpose, I think kiddingly, but you never know with Randy. He was a pretty surly dude. Will Clark, I think they called him the Sloth or something like that, but man, he was a good hitter and a good defensive first baseman. Chris Sabo, Aaron probably knows this guy. He just was one of those hustlers. He wasn't great, but man, he got everything out of his. Hey, look at that, Kenny Lofton. Someday I'll do if I haven't, I'll do a Curt Facts on him, because people would be amazed at him. He hit some home runs. He stole a lot of bases. Just, he was like the catalyst for those 90s Indians teams that went to the playoffs a lot. Doug Jones, actually a closer for the Tribe in their not good days, and not like the closers of now that throw 100 miles an hour. He threw, I don't know, maybe 86, and then he had this ephus pitch he threw, change up, and it just had everybody off their timing. Mickey Tettleton, switch hitting catcher. He had a pretty solid career. So that's 1992 Leaf Studio. The next pack I got here is Don Russ, 1992. Looks like Series 1. Alonzo Powell, no idea who that is. Jimmy Jones, there's a name that's not common, not. Terry Mulholland, he's a good left-handed pitcher for a lot of years and a lot of teams. Todd Stottlemyre. Hal Morris, solid first baseman for the Reds, yep. Barry Larkin, all-star shortstop for the Reds. Man, that guy was tough. Danny Tartable, he's the guy that hit some bombs in his day for a few years until the league kind of caught up with him. Dean Palmer. Chris Hammond. Brian Downing was a good hitter for, it seems to me like I remember him for the Angels more than Texas here, but he had some good years of hitting. Craig Lefferts. Cecil Fielder, man, that guy could hit some prodigious bombs, and he was a big dude. And then he had his son Prince. Both those guys hit some bombs and had a good career. Jose Guzman, Lance Johnson, Julio Machado, and again another puzzle piece. And then last but not least, let's see what this was. 1992 Upper Deck. And let's see who we got here. Steve Bedrosian. That guy was a good pitcher for quite a few years. Looks like we got a Red Sox checklist. It says Alex Burks on the top. So Ellis Burks was a really good player. Eddie Murray, that guy. I loved him. He's probably my favorite baseball card that I ever got. And I got this in a pack in 1978, I think it is, rookie card. And I don't know, I don't know why. I didn't know anything about him when I got it, but I saved that thing, and it's just one of my favorite cards. And of course, this guy's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest. Him and Mickey Mantle, probably the two greatest switch hitters ever. Let's see why we're upside down now. Who's this? Barry Larkin again. And there's, a few of his years of stats. I mean, you can see there's at this time 6 total seasons. He had a 294 average. Boy, that's like Hall of Fame material in this day and age where nobody hits over 250. It seems like. Kevin Bass. Who's that? Bill Pacoda, Kevin Reimer, don't really recall much about him. Brian Barnes, looks like the Expos. Some of you guys don't even know who the Expos are because they're the Washington Nationals now. Gary Gaetti, he was a pretty solid, I don't remember if he was a third baseman. He had some good years. Let's see. Harvey Pulliam, no idea who that is. Ken Patterson. Jeff Reardon, he had some decent years. Tim Naring. Rick Honeycutt, he's a solid left-handed pitcher. Glenn Davis had a few good years. It seemed like he had some injuries and the league just caught up with him, but he had several good years. So there you go. Those are the cards that Aaron sent me in the mail. Apparently as payment for letting him stay with me, and so I decided to videotape it.